David Ivers sends his best, the director of the play. He wishes he could be here, but we are rehearsing. We just finished up tech over the weekend. It went really well. We were able to pretty much make it all the way through this little musical. Which actually, yeah, a musical, there are a lot of different parts to it. And when you go into a tech rehearsal, any rehearsal for a musical, there's just, there's choreography that has to be dealt with. People have to learn the songs. And then there's all the book work, including the bits that we have to do, that we've broken down in the script by number. We have bits 1 through 44 that can be rehearsed separately. So we need a handkerchief and a keychain for this bit, and so it's very complex, but it's going really, really well. David has written some gorgeous director's notes. I wanted to read them, but I think I'll pass over those and let you guys find them in your own time when the playbill comes out. But David does talk about, in those director's notes, being particularly excited about returning the Cocoanuts to the stage where it belongs, as he says in his notes. The Cocoanuts was indeed originally a stage play, and it features a fantastic score by a young Irving Berlin. The play has been adapted several times, most recently by OSF's own Mark Bedard, and this production will be the world premiere of that adaptation. So, here's a bit of history about the Cocoanuts. It was written for the Marx Brothers in 1925, following the success of their Broadway revue, I'll Say She Is, in the previous year. The Cocoanuts was first tried out in Boston and Philadelphia, then opened at the Lyric Theater on Broadway on December 8, 1925. It closed on August 7, 1926, after a run of 276 performances. After the show closed on Broadway, the Marxes toured around the country with it, and Berlin continued to introduce new songs at the boys' request. From 1924 to 1929, he would pen over 30 songs for the Cocoanuts, and 25 of those pieces have found their way into our adaptation. If not as full numbers, then as incidental and transition music, thanks to our amazing arranger, Greg Coffin. Several of these songs existed only in the Library of Congress until 2013, when Greg and our dramaturg Julie Dubiner were able to pull strings and gain access to sheet music, some of which has probably not been played live for an audience since the first quarter of the 20th century. So that's a little bit of the archaeological dig. Yeah, they really went to great lengths. Mark, as he was writing this adaptation, he was able to find lyrics, and he incorporated those into his adaptation. And then Greg came on board as the arranger and was suddenly like, great, we have the lyrics, but where's the music? So they went on this incredible quest and dug through all this sheet music handwritten by Berlin. We have gorgeous images of Berlin's handwriting on his sheet music. So. Then, of course, there's the film. Or to quote our insightful adapter and star Mark Bedard, that god-awful, terrible film. Actually, we love the film. It's very, very dear to all of us. The film was released on May 3rd, 1929, and was the Marx Brothers' first feature-length project. Film, that is. If you do take a trip through the film version, note the large chorus of leggy dancing and singing girls. No doubt a holdover from the Broadway production. Mark wanted to adapt the play for a smaller cast here at OSF, so he and David Ivers and Greg found a beautiful way to tip a hat to the large chorus feel by putting that big ensemble score into the mouths of what we're calling the trio: Coco, Nate, and Trixie, played by Aaron O'Connor, Miles Fletcher, and Katie Bradley. Think beauty school dropout angels. Meet Greek chorus in a Marx Brothers idiom. Animal Crackers vets Kate Mulligan and KT Vogt join Robert Vincent Frank and David Kelly to round out the ensemble. Speaking of Animal Crackers, we try not to compare what we're doing too much, but of course sometimes it's inevitable. How many of you saw or worked on that show? Pretty much everybody in this room, so you know what I'm talking about. One thing our team enjoyed about Animal Crackers and wanted to strengthen even more in the Cocoanuts was this theme of the Marxes rallying around an underdog, and through their specific brand of anarchy, helping him realize lofty dreams of financial success and love, or perhaps finding his authentic self, to tie it into what Louis was saying. In our case, this underdog searching for his authentic self is the overworked bellhop Jamison, who's only clerking until he can get started as an architect. The apple of his eye is wealthy socialite Polly Potter, she of the Potter millions. We hope you feel a genuine tug on your heartstrings as you follow the arc of Polly and Jamison's story. It's the rich cake to the sparkly icing of all the Marx Brothers' slapstick zaniness, and Eduardo Placer and newcomer Jenny Greenberry are bringing surprising sweetness and depth to the roles of the young lovers. The Marxes are still front and center, but Mark, David, Greg, and Jacqueline Miller, our phenomenal choreographer, she did My Fair Lady last year and The Taming of the Shrew. She's amazing and talented. They want to serve up everything that's delicious in a big American musical, including a real emotional journey for the lovers at the center. As reference material, we've looked at everything from old vaudeville traditions and exuberant dances, the Charleston, the Soft Shoe, to Fred and Ginger's films, to Spike Jones, to Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes, to the film Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, to recent Audi commercials. Despite the anachronistic grab bag of American comedy we're pulling from, the production is visually rooted in the 1920s by the luscious costumes of Meg Neville and fantastic Floridian lighting of Marcus Doshi. And, just like vaudeville, this show's got a little bit of everything thrown in, including, maybe literally, the kitchen sink. Harpo has very deep pockets in our production. In fact, the rehearsal I just left was a coat rehearsal for Brent Hinckley, who's playing Harpo. And they were deciding with the costume designer where exactly the pockets need to be, how deep they are, how big they are. Yes, it's quite an event. Spoiler alert about our production, the underdog saves the day, the bad guys and gals get their due, true love triumphs against the odds, and the Marxes shine in all their comedic glory. And we've got a smokin' live band on stage. In case you haven't heard the good news, John Tufts, Brent Hinckley, and Mark Bedard reprise the roles of Chico, Harpo, and Groucho. I think you'll find they're louder, faster, and funnier than ever, especially because they surround an unexpectedly sweet and tender center in this inspired adaptation. So to conclude, I have a little bit of the music. So these are some recordings that were done by Greg Coffin, our arranger, and they were designed to give us all a sense of what the orchestration was going to be before we went into rehearsal, and to be used as rehearsal tracks for the cast, so they could, if they aren't particularly adept at reading music, they could get it in their ears. This is the first song that the young lovers sing together. This is Polly, the female ingenue, talking about her family situation.
What an awful situation when you can't do this and you mustn't do that.
Thank you for listening.
Great, Nell. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.